Hello there. Yes, that was a warm one, wasn't it? Yes, anyway, yesterday was an interview on New Culture Forum with Lozza Fox. Let's have a flavour of that, shall we?
When I was walking around begging them to arrest me, seeing as I'd committed the original thought crime myself of desecrating the flag which symbolises the occupation of Britain, the progressive pride flag, or the child mutilation flag as I call it. Where I have a problem is when you start getting a black little line that represents Black Lives Matter, which is a political Ponzi scheme. Yeah. Then you get a brown line which just represents everyone who's brown. You know, that's racist. And then you get the child mutilation line, the transgender line, which is I have a huge objection to. And I think most people do. Gay, lesbian, straight, black, brown, white. You know, the problem with this progressive flag is like the movement that it represents, which is to destabilise society. The T and the Q, for example, trans and queer. Queer is a political position, whereas previously to us, queer just meant gay, actually. But queer is actually a political position now. Is that a flag which represented the love between two people of the same sex is now being hidden behind by an altogether more insidious movement that encourages and promotes the mutilation of children. When I go to I'll go to places where they're doing Drag Queen Story Hour, or I'll go and support Kelly J. Keane, Posey Parker in her Stand Up for Women march in the park. I tend actually to see a bunch of quite limp-wristed men screaming about it. And you're exactly right to touch on this idea that it's very homophobic, that in some way you're not gay, you can trans away the gay.
Yes, exactly.
And I think it's fundamentally the movement itself, the progressive pride flag, to me, represents part of what we loosely call woke ideology is doing, which is it's attempting to take a genuinely progressive and tolerant society like the one that we live in and divide it down the lines of race and sexual orientation to create oppressed and oppressors, which is communism.
Do you propose to do anything legally with this? You mentioned before we came on, you've got various projects connected to Reclaim. Is there anything you can do legally about what is happening? You mentioned there in our schools. I mean, what are you planning to do?
Well, we've got the Policy Exchange report, a sweep at the wheel, which has come through, which is freedom of information request to 300 schools. So this stuff is endemic. It's not. It's not. The exception that proves the rule. It's everywhere in every single school, pretty much. And so what you can do is we're going to do two things. We have a group of parents and a group of families, a lot of them utterly destroyed by this, in various stages of children being socially transitioned without their parents' involvement, which, let's face it, with a Conservative government in charge, not to put the family at the centre, to put the family at the centre of everything they do is appalling. So we are going to bring a class action case against the Department of Education on behalf of these people to make sure that this stuff is made absolutely illegal in the schools. And we are also going to be putting a bill through Parliament, now that we have a Member of Parliament, for the protection of children. As I'm a bit fruity, and Lee Anderson is coming in before, but me being me, the minute they announced Uxbridge, I was like, I'm going to stand there because I want to offer up the quiet part out loud, that no other party is going to stand there. Richard Tice was brilliant about it, and he said, we'll coordinate, and I said, you stand in mid-beds and we'll help you, and we'll stand here and you help us. We didn't manage to succeed in the same way with UKIP, who seem to have their own way of doing things, but I'm not allowed to be on TV until I obviously storm home with a overwhelming majority in Uxbridge.
Do you? Of course, yes. This is the Ofcom rule, isn't it?
Ofcom is terrible.
Oh yes, of course.